Hello and welcome to Huggy's Adventures. Today on Huggy's Adventures, we're gonna be sharing stories from children from around the world that wrote into Huggy to tell stories about things that happen in their life. Our first story is from a boy named George. And George says, when I was going to school as a little kid, one day the neighbor lady that drives in the carpool told me to stay in the car, and she wanted to tell me something. So I stayed in the car. The other children got out, and when they got out, she looked at me and she said, George, you are a horrible child. You are an evil, evil little boy. And George just looked at her. He had no idea what the fuck this bitch was talking about. He just didn't even pay it no mind. Later on, he told his mom about what the woman had said. And the mother said, George, she's a bitch. You don't have to ride to school with that fucking cunt no more. So that was the last time that George went to school in that lady's car. Now, years later, George did manage to steal the CB antenna off their roof and shit in their garage. But George wasn't doing it because he was mad at that lady or trying to get revenge. George liked that lady and he just didn't want that bitch to be wrong. Now this is horrible to think that an adult is gonna talk to a child that way. That's just rude, and that is just completely unfucking called for. And Huggy would have slapped the bitch if he would have seen her doing it. Our next story comes from a child named Maximilian. Now Max writes, Dear Huggy, when I was about 7 years old, my mom's best friend's son came over to babysit me while they went out to have some drinks. Now, when I was sitting on my bed, this older gentleman who was probably about 17 or 18 years old came into my bedroom and sat down on the foot of my bed and asked me if I wanted to play a game. He had two pads of paper and some pens, and he wrote a note, and he handed it to me, and it said, hi. He said, go ahead and write back on the other side of the piece of paper your response. So I wrote back, hi, and handed it back to the man. Then he writes on another paper, and he hands it to me, and it says, do you like boys or girls? And I write back, I like girls, and then hand it back to him. And he writes back, have you ever seen another boy naked? And now I could tell there was something strange going on in this motherfucker's head to be talking to a child 7 years old about naked boys. But I played along since it was a game, and I said, yes, I have seen some boys naked at my school. So he writes back, would you like to see me naked? So I write back, no, thank you. So then he takes out another piece of paper and he writes, would you think it'd be okay if I sucked on your dick? And I wrote back, if you don't get the fuck out of my room right now, I'm gonna tell my mama that you're a sex freak, pedophile, piece of motherfucking shit, and you're gonna spend the next 6 months to a year in the county lockup. And that was when that man got up and left my room, and I never seen that motherfucker again. Now, Maximilian, you done the right thing. You done the very right thing by telling that almost adult man-child that he could not have sex with a child. What the fuck is wrong with motherfuckers thinking they can have sex with a child or be looking at sexually perverted materials of a child. They got places for people like that where they lock them up and then big angry black men play with their genitals, but they ain't writing notes and they ain't asking if they want to. They just take it from them because they're fucking bad people. And that's where you end up if you're a pedophile. You end up in a bad place where they put bad people and they gonna do stuff to you in your doo-doo. One thing that Huggy Wuggy will not tolerate whatsoever is the abuse of any children. That is for damn sure. We ain't into that child trafficking, none of that adrenochrome, friggin' eating like Hillary Clinton and her whole bunch. No spirit cooking. Y'all are sick in the motherfucking head. You got to be honest with yourself. Is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back? You want to be preying on children? The Bible says it'd be better than a millstone be tied around your neck and you be thrown out into the sea. And if Huggy gets a hold of you, I'm gonna do worse than that. You gonna wish you had millstones, bitch. Right now, Huggy's in the process of busting up this here child pedophilia ring. We already got the ringleader. Now we taking out all these other scumbags out here on the streets of Los Angeles. They be trying to do weird stuff with our babies, and it just ain't right. And Huggy says it's time for the people to rise up and take matters into their own hands, and don't worry about the police, and don't worry about none of that, because as you will see, even the police is a part of it. Even the paramedics is part of the trafficking ring. It's out of control, and the folks ain't got to band together for the children, and they got to do something right. I'm telling you, they got to do something right.
Your pee-pee, that's when you better call Huggy. If you see a pedophile and he flashes you a smile, that's when you need to call Huggy. If you see a naked dude and he's trying to slip you loose, damn straight you better call Huggy. Cause Huggy don't like no pedophiles around his town. Huggy don't like no pedophiles with smelly dicks and creepy smiles. Huggy don't like no pedophiles
Now Huggy gonna show you how you give a pedophile CPR. Be sure to put your boots on first.
That is wrong.
You just stomp like this and work really, really good. We'll fix your motherfucker up.